What's up, guys? It's Kyle from RR Buildings, and as you can see, the trailer is empty of all the tools because as the 2019 building season approaches, I thought it was time to bring this thing home and do a little spring cleaning. So let's get into it. Now, if you guys have been following me on this channel for any amount of time, you know that I do have a ton of tools. I am a tool lover, and some I buy, some are actually sent to me for free, which is an awesome perk of making content for you guys. Brands want me to clearly show their brand in front of you. However, for me, what it means is I'm lucky enough to get to use a wide array of tools and find the ones that are gonna make me the best post-frame builder possible, because in the end, my bread and butter comes from building buildings, and through that I'm able to make all this content, use all these cool tools to show you guys in these videos. Now, what I also know is that what happens is my tool trailer gets overran with tools and it gets a little bit overwhelming. So I thought, let's bring the tool trailer home, let's get it cleaned up, and let's pick out all the best tools. They're gonna be there to make my job as easy as possible. But also, this gives me the opportunity to share with you guys what a tool trailer might look like if you're trying to get into the trades or you're gonna go out on business on your own, because that's a question I'm asked quite often. So I'll be able to show you what goes into our trailer for the 2019 season. And yes, I already know it, you're probably thinking it, this is a ton of tools and probably more tools than I would ever need, but stick around to the end of the video and I'll share with you guys my thoughts on what I'm gonna do with these tools once I've picked through the ones that are gonna make me hopefully the most money out on the job site. Now, what I've done is I've put together a list of all the categories that I need to fill in order to get this trailer back on the job site. And what I'm gonna do is we're just gonna kind of go through, because clearly I've got a lot of drills, I've got a lot of circular saws, I've got a ton of SDS hammers, framing, you name it, I've got multiples, and I'm just gonna pick through and grab the best one. And listen, this is non-sponsored content, this isn't a commercial. It's really hard for me to share the information that you guys want about what the best tools are without some of you assuming that it's sponsored, so I get it. But enough talk about that. I'm just gonna share with you what I love, what I use, and you do with it what you want. The first thing is probably the most important is tool belts. I've got a couple more tool belts than I really need. That's because I actually use different tool belts depending on the application, whether I'm up on a roof, whether it's the middle of the winter, or it's just a nice sunny day and you don't want suspenders, you just need a nice strap because you're doing some, light work and you don't need big belts. So I'm gonna probably pick my Diamondback tool belt that's gonna have just the waist belt. It's not really needing suspenders as we go into the warmer weather, but I'm gonna keep the Exo Fit because that's my fall protection and it allows me to also put bags on when I'm up there in the roof doing, whether that be roof steel, ridge cap, whatever, and I can tie off. So that's kind of a nice plus. Now, the next thing that I'm gonna pick out is a circular saw. Circular saws are so important, so common on the job site. And once again, there's way more than a guy actually needs, but they do serve different functions. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna grab one of the 6.5-inch left blade, because I'm definitely a left blade guy, and I'm gonna grab a rear handle saw. The rest of them I probably don't need. I don't really like right blade circular saws. However, they have their place. I'll probably keep one in the shop just in case you need it for a certain application where you need the blade on the right. Now, the next thing that I'm gonna pick out to go into the trailer is the impact driver. You guys know how much I love an impact driver, and really any carpenter is probably gonna utilize an impact these days. They're so versatile, but that doesn't mean that one impact will do everything perfectly. I like to choose a standard framing impact. Then I also like to go ahead and use a hydraulic driver that's gonna help me just get that nice detailed finished screw work without having all that noise and vibration in my hands. Now, obviously, all job sites need a table saw, so I think a job site table saw, especially nowadays, we've got the cordless options, which I don't care, it'll make a believer out of you. They last forever and they have tons of power and they're just super lightweight. So I love a good job site table saw. That's definitely going in the trailer. Now, I know this is something that a lot of people might argue me about, but that is a framing nailer. I don't typically use a compressor for a standard framing gun. You know I got my jumbo nailer, which I'm definitely gonna put in the trailer, but also cordless framing nail guns have come so far, and there's a lot of different options to choose. I've actually done a video about these, so if you want, I'll go ahead and tag that video, go check that out, but I'm still gonna throw a couple framing nailers, cordless framing nailers, in the trailer for sure. Now, you guys, if you watch the channel, you know I do a lot of metal buildings, which means I'm dealing with steel all the time. So the metal tools, those are definitely going in the trailer. My nibblers, my shears, grinders, things of that nature. Now, we already talked about the impact driver, but you definitely need to consider to have a good drill driver. And with today's awesome cordless tools, you've also got the hammer drill as an option on a drill. So make sure you get a good one of those, because that's gonna be a great all-around tool to have. Next on the list is a good miter saw. I would definitely recommend looking into cordless miter saws. I've done another video on that, which I'll go ahead and tag here as well. So check that out, but you gotta have a miter saw out on the job site. Now here's something that I don't think everybody needs to run out and buy the first time they're filling up their tool trailer, but if you're at the point where you got a lot of tools and you're looking for that next tool that can really help you out, I would look at a track saw. There's a couple different options, whether that be like the Festool carpentry saw that I use, or just a regular track saw used to cut down sheet goods, but it's definitely something that I love to have in my trailer. I don't know how I waited this long to tell you guys, you gotta have a good level in your trailer or your work truck. No carpenter can just say, looks good enough to me, looks good to the eye. You gotta put a level on it to make sure things are level and plumb. So definitely have a good set of levels that you can rely on, not just the cheapest ones that you buy, because that's super important. Now also, depending on the type of work you do, I work outside dealing with large structures. I got a couple different lasers that aid in that process. So depending on what you're doing, you want to look at a laser. So maybe you don't want to put a level up on a wall if you're doing tile. Go get yourself a nice line laser. For me, I've got a rotary laser, a layout station laser, and I do have some line lasers we use occasionally, and those are definitely important out on the job site. You know how much I love my cordless tools or my gas-free power tools. However, you gotta have a compressor out on the job site, because you never know when you gotta run air. For us, it's with the jumbo nailer, so I've always gotta have a compressor in the trailer as well. Now, it doesn't matter how good of a contractor you are. We all make mistakes, or we gotta tear somebody else's work down, which means a Sawzall is probably one of those tools that even if you don't use it every day, you gotta have in your trailer, because when you need it, you'll wish you had it. Now, even though I work outside 99% of the time, I still like to have a vacuum handy. Sometimes I don't leave it in the trailer, but with these new cordless vacuums that are pretty small, they stack real nice. You can slip them in a nice spot in the trailer, so I've been adding that to the collection as well. Now, having a circular saw or a Sawzall, those are great for cutting lumber, but also I would recommend going out and getting yourself a good jigsaw, because they're handy to get into tight places or make those detailed cuts when they arise. Not everybody is going to need an impact wrench right away, but the more you do, the more you find good uses for them, whether you're doing some bolts and some ledgers on a deck, or like me, putting brackets in and bolting your columns in for your post frames. So look into an impact wrench for a good addition to the tool trailer. All those tools I just shared with you are, in my opinion, probably a good general contractor list of tools. However, you're always going to have all those niche tools that you need in order to do specialty items a little bit easier, make your job a little bit more efficient. Now, with that in mind, here's a list of some of those other things that might be specialty tools that I put in my trailer for what I do personally. We keep a blower on hand in case we gotta blow off sawdust off of tools or snow off of material in the middle of winter, so that's nice. Because of the fact that we do a lot of concrete drilling, we always have a couple SDS rotary hammers in the trailer. A good right angle drill will help you get into those tight spots to do some big boring of holes or just screwing of fasteners. Since we deal in metal-clad exteriors so often, a VersaClutch screw gun helps us put those screws in a lot quicker and a lot more effectively. I'm not sure how I forgot about a caulk gun. Every contractor needs a good caulk gun. Remember, do your best, caulk the rest. It's always nice to have a couple cordless staple guns handy, help you put up your soffit, maybe some Tyvek or vapor barrier. Now, if you throw the right saw blade on a circular saw, you can get away with cutting steel, but I like to have a saw specifically made to cut metal in my trailer because we do deal with that quite often. Next up is a planer, which definitely comes in handy when you need it. If you've ever pounded Tico nails in a metal connector or while you're doing trusses, you know how handy it is to have a tool for that. So a strap nailer always makes its way into my trailer. Now, I don't want to forget to talk about fall protection because that's important, especially if you're out working on lifts up on the side of a building or on a roof. So make sure you got that in the trailer. But listen, there's a ton of other things that I don't really have time to go through, like a first aid kit. That's super important. You got to have batteries, obviously, when you're talking cordless tools, which means you got to have chargers, potentially drop cords in the trailer, maybe a miter saw station or a cut station. You've got things like hand tools, hammers. We didn't even talk about hammers. You got drills. You got screwdrivers, maybe snips, punches. I mean, the list goes on. And the big thing to take away from that is it takes time to accumulate all of this stuff. It's not gonna happen day one. You'll go broke trying to do it. I remember hauling all of my tools the first year of business in the back of my Volkswagen Jetta. It was a diesel Volkswagen Jetta, and all of my tools that I used to do my work fit in that car. And as I grew, I got a pickup. Then I remember getting my first tool trailer. So don't be discouraged if you guys are looking to get into this, gig of being a tradesman or a carpenter. You're not gonna have all of this on day one. It takes hard work and it takes time. But hopefully this video kind of gave you an idea as to what it does take or what it can become. After a long time of doing it, you start getting those niche tools and you start building that portfolio to do the job the best you can with the most efficiency, because in the end, that's what it's all about. It's about making money and it's about having happy customers. And yes, you can do it with a circular saw and a hammer, but as you branch out and get more tools, you become better. And I will argue that with anybody. So hopefully this video helped you guys, but also gave you insight into what we're doing specifically to prepare ourselves as the weather turns nice outside Northern Illinois, and we're getting ready for that 2019 building season to really kick off. But I know it means that there's also a ton of tools that are gonna be left over, tools that I don't use, I don't really need sitting on a shelf. And I'm really excited to maybe give that stuff back, do my part to help out those young people that are maybe working out of their Volkswagen Jetta. So stay tuned to the channel because I'll definitely share with you guys how I go ahead with sharing these tools and maybe hopefully making some people's lives a little bit better. And just in general, give back, because I am very fortunate with the brands sending me all this stuff and I don't need it. I really appreciate you guys hanging around. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully if there's a tool that you think I need in my trailer, obviously I want to know about it because I love tools and that's what it's all about. We all want to learn here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for those notifications so you don't miss out on any of the videos here on the channel, and maybe share it with somebody that you know is looking to get into the trades or needs to maybe upfit a trailer with tools, and they might enjoy the video as well. So I thank you and we'll see you guys on the next video. Two things I almost forgot. One, you cannot go to a job site without a radio, so make sure you got a job site radio. And now that I've got all these tools picked out that are gonna go in the trailer, I gotta actually organize them in the trailer. Maybe a future video, so let me know down below if that's something you're interested in.